When I was about 10 years old, I had a really big imagination and really big plans for myself. I was going to get married, and the wedding would take place in our family backyard. We'd have to repaint those white picket fences, take down that badminton net, do something about the mosquitoes. But I'd get married in the backyard, and soon after, I'd become a mom to 2, maybe 3 kids. And when I was 12, I bought a baby name book to imagine the names of my children, still tucked into my imagination. As a teenager, I was a babysitter, a mother's helper, a camp counselor. And after I graduated university, I moved to New York, and on my very first job interview, I inquired about maternity benefits, because I had no doubt I would soon fall in love, get married, become a mother. And by age 30, by all appearances, my life was pretty fabulous. I had an amazing apartment, a great job, some amazing friends, some pretty great dates, and some pretty devastating heartbreaks and disappointments. And in my mid-30s, I'd lie in bed alone, crying, sobbing. Where was he? Where was this man I was to marry? Where were my children? I didn't understand it then, but I was in grief over my circumstantial infertility, the pain over being childless because I remained single, and like other disenfranchised grief, my grief was not received with any sympathy. Because you're not married, they'd say. It was if I'd have to fall in love, get married, and try to have a child in order to prove that I wanted to fall in love, get married, and try to have a child. By my late 30s, I launched a lifestyle brand called Savvy Auntie, designed for women like me who are in love with our nieces and nephews, don't have children of our own. I called it this demographic pank, or professional aunt, no kids. And as this tribe grew, and I realized it wasn't just me and my experience or the experience of some of my friends and their friends, but it was millions of women across the country. In 2011, I wrote an essay called The Truth About Childless Women, about this experience of women who were remaining single and childless longer than they ever expected. It went viral. I ended up on CNN. I realized that I had to look deeper at this issue. I made it my focus. I made it my life's work. The rise of childless women is one of the most overlooked and unappreciated social issues of our time. Today, an American woman has never lived longer before having her very first child or remained childless toward the end of her fertility and beyond. Today, a woman is virtually as likely to be a mother as not. 47.6% of women of childbearing age have not yet given birth. That's a steep rise from 1976, when that number was just 35%. Look, we live in what I call a mom-opic society. There's this myopia that all women are mothers, as if we've inverted the W for woman to M for mother. It's a celebration of motherhood wherever you go, and trust me, I celebrate motherhood. But on every magazine cover, there's a baby bump. Ooh, is she pregnant? There's the announcement of a new celebrity baby born to a celebrity mom, and it's breaking news. Marketers refer to moms as hero. We talk about motherhood as the hardest job in the world, and thank you, Mom. National conversations, some of the most feminist tropes like work-life balance are really work-mom balance. Having it all is all about moms. It's like it's the thing that moms can aspire to. And those of us who are not moms, we sit on the sidelines. There's mother, and there's other to mother. It's like we're a second sex, within our own sex. Look, we know what motherhood looks like, but what's it like in otherhood? And how can we change how we understand this cohort, and we in the cohort better understand ourselves? Before I go on, I do know that there are those who are child-free by choice, men and women, and many of them are part of this Savvy Auntie tribe. And know without question, without doubt, that I champion, I defend, and I honor that choice. But for many, it is not a choice. In America today, we are getting married later, but 80% of unmarried women are childless, and of those, 81% hope, expect, yearn to have children one day. So what's going on? What happened to we, the daughters of feminism and the older millennials? We expected to have the social, economic, and political equality our mothers earned through the feminist movement, but naturally we'd also have the husband and kids they had too. But many of us, among the most well-educated, most financially independent women in America, remain single and childless as our fertile years wane. Well, if you want to know what's happening, don't listen to the stereotypes. Number one, it's the delayer boom, a headline from the census in 2011 describing well-educated women who are having children later than ever, as if we banded together in some sort of conspiracy and hung our diplomas on the wall and decided that together we will delay our fertility to the very 11th hour when it would be extremely difficult to do. No, we're not delaying the thing we want most. And where are the men in this picture? Certainly some men are delaying getting married and having children. Not as much the women. And if not delayers, then we are called career women, an anachronistic term, more appropriate for Peggy Olson of the Mad Men era, when literally a woman with a career was an outlier. But today, just as many women have careers as men. And nobody calls a man a career man if he has a job and finds time to date, fall in love, get married, and have children. But somehow for a woman, it's this tunnel vision of her career, trying to get that corner office. Not true. And on the flip side, for those who've seen some of the sitcoms or even commercials, you've noticed that the childless woman, often the childless aunt, is completely irresponsible. She does not have her life together at all, and the mom is all responsible, and she knows exactly what she's doing. That's not us. Many of women of the Otherhood are among the most accomplished women in America. We're not irresponsible. We're just waiting for love. No, they think, we're these single women, sipping cosmopolitans, talking about all the sex that we're having. Here's real news. Research shows married moms are having a lot more sex than the single ladies are. Well, then you're just believing that life is a fairy tale, that you're waiting for some Prince Charming to come ride in on a horse. Listen, I can't speak for all the ladies, but I'm not looking for a man in tights. And besides, where would I put that horse? We are grown women, we're not children, and we don't believe in a fairy tale any more than you do. Of course, we believe in romance, but shouldn't love be romantic? Well, if that's not the problem, then maybe you just don't like children. Maybe you're just not mother material. Oh, we love children. Even among those who are child-free by choice don't want their own children. They love the children in their life by relation, by choice. In fact, in 2012, I worked on a joint study with Weber Shandwick and KRC Research entitled The Power of the Pank, These Professional Aunts, No Kids. And we found 23 million American and Canadian women who are panks. Women 18 plus who don't have a child of their own but love a child in their life by choice or relation. That is 1 out of every 5 women in North America. And we are generous to these children. And remember, there is no legal obligation to aunt. We are not childless or childfree, we're childful because we fill our lives with the love of the children. And in fact, we spend about $9 billion on those children every year, and that's baseline just one child per pank. 75% of us spend over $500 per child per pank. And lest you think that that's just on toys and games and adventures and experiences and cashmere onesies, well, yeah, that's part of it. But over a third of us contribute to a child's education. And about 45% of us have actually given a gift to the parents so they could provide something for the children. We are very generous women, and we love the children in our life. Well, if you love children so much, why don't you have a child on your own? You know, modern women can do that now, and that's true, and I have girlfriends who have done that, and I honor and champion that choice. But for all women, it is not a choice. It's not something that they can do or should do or would do, and not because they don't want children, but because they wanted a family. A family. They wanted to have a child with a man they love. And it doesn't mean that because they didn't have a child on their own, that they don't want children. So maybe we're just unhappy, they think. We're those women, you know, sitting alone at home, collecting cats and quirky habits. No, that's not us either. In fact, our Power of the Pank survey showed that this pank is more likely than the average woman, substantially more likely than the active woman, to be very socially active. Yes, sure, we're socially active online, but also offline. With our friends, we're cultivating our friendships, we're going on dates, we're volunteering, sporting events, and we love to entertain. We have our nieces and nephews, our family and our friends, and our dates over. And we're just as likely as any woman to go to a religious service. We're not unhappy women. In fact, probably the most poignant data point is a 2014 survey I worked on with DeVries Global PR. We looked at women of shades of otherhood, women who are childless by choice or by circumstance. And we found that of those, 80% could be happy if they don't have children. Even among those who want children so much, we're happy women. I can speak for myself. I'm a very happy woman. And I can't blame the media for these conversations. After all, the media is simply an echo of our conversations. And if women of the Otherhood and those who understand us don't begin to shift the script, if we don't change the conversation, then how can we expect the conversations to change, the attitudes to change, the assumptions to change, the conversations to change? We, the women of the Otherhood, we have to be our true selves and tell our true stories. And in fact, that's how we are happy women, because we've always been our authentic selves. And I know that through the research and writing I did with my book, Otherhood, I found that these women, they were always authentic themselves. They never, ever settled for lesser love. They are not the wrong wife in the wrong life. And yes, we hedge our bets that we will find love in time for motherhood. And for some, motherhood may not come, but we choose love. And whoever we are with is deserving of that love. I haven't yet found that love now in my late 40s, and I will never give birth to a child. But babies are born from the womb. Maternity is born from the soul, and there are many ways to mother. And if I wasn't to be a mother, then I was to be wonderful other things. I am madly in love with my nephew and nieces. And in fact, they were the inspiration for Savvy Auntie, the company I have. And when I realized I was on the other side of hope for motherhood, I turned the page. I started a new chapter. I literally wrote a book about the experience of life in the Otherhood, and those women inspired me to better understand that, in fact, by living our authentic lives, we have created a life, after all, worth celebrating. Our own. It's not the life I expected, but in many ways, in magnificent ways, in ways even that 10-year-old me with the big imagination and the big plans could ever have imagined. It is a life beyond my expectations. Welcome to the Otherhood. Now we can start the real conversation. Thank you.